We are back with episode 14 in the Tyre Recycling Podcast, brought to you by Tyre Recycling. We're bringing you the very latest in news, updates and developments in the tyre recycling sector. I'm Richard Wilson and Ewan Scott is with me to take us through the episode. Ewan, what have we got on today's agenda?
Today we're talking with Pascal Klein, Chief Executive Officer of Pyrum and sales agent for UK and Luxembourg, Martin Herneman. Pyrum has suddenly taken the world by storm, as it were. I've been involved with the Michelin Blackcycle project and also receiving a large investment from BASF to supply them with oil.
Brilliant. Well, obviously Pyrum, they're a technology company that are focusing on the pyrolysis of waste tyres. And they're another player in this already burgeoning pyrolysis sector that we've commented on before and spoke about before in the Tyre Recycling Podcast. What particularly are you expecting to find out from Pyrum besides the main news regarding the Michelin developments?
It would be interesting to find out just exactly why all of a sudden pyrolysis had made this breakthrough. We've had 20 odd years of research, development, projects coming and going. And this year we've seen a lot more interest and some large-scale investment in projects such as Pyrum. So that's the interesting point here. What is it that has brought them to the fore?
Definitely, and as you, it's interesting you touch upon big investments. In a year of all years like this one, it's increasingly difficult to get investment for things with the global pandemic. But I'll be keen to watch this episode and to see how they respond to your questions. And without any further waiting, we have Ewan's interview with Pyrum for you right now.
So, first of all, tell us, Pascal, perhaps, tell us about the aims of Pyrum. What are you aiming to do?
From the development in the next years, or can you precise the question a little bit?
Well, what is the current basis of Pyrum? What are you doing today?
Okay, so today we operate 10,000 ton plant here in Saarland, which is in South Germany, in which we treat right now about 3,000 tires per day. And today we sell the oil and the carbon to industrial partners. And the goal for the next 2 years is to increase the plant capacity here to 3 lines. So what we have right now, 2 more times. And to build until 50 more plants together with our new investor.
Okay, these 50 new plants are going to be spread around Europe?
Yeah, in fact, it's always a little bit a question of if you want to sell your oil to BASF or not. If you sell it to BASF, it's better for the logistics to be not that far away, but that has a little influence on the price of the oil, of course, the transportation.
Okay, and your main focus at Pyrum is the production of pyrolysis oil rather than the recovered carbon black?
No, both. The carbon is even more expensive and has a higher market value than the oil. But most others are just burning the oil or selling it as waste oil. And we invested a lot of time and money to find a solution for the oil, to make the oil something of high value that has a real market value and is not seen as a waste product, but as a real product. For me, it was always important to make the oil a new product and the carbon a new product, and not simply burning the oil to create energy. That was never our green goal. And we are the only ones that have a REACH certificate for the oil. So we have a real market value, real oil product. And yeah, that's for sure. Our oil is, I don't want to be arrogant, but our oil has one of the best qualities on the market. but it's not our only focus. It's the carbon and the oil. It's not just one of them.
Okay, and talking about your carbon, there's been a lot of talk from a lot of people about producing recovered carbon black that is suitable for use in the tyre industry. The tyre industry has always held back from agreeing that it uses recovered carbon black. Are you finding a market for carbon black in the tyre industry?
Yeah, but you have to fulfill several characteristics. The one and most important one is that you have a constant and stable quality, which most other pyrolysis processes, just due to their kind of production or kind of construction of the reactor itself, you never have a stable quality because you never have a stable temperature inside the reactor. And that's one of the main advantages of our patent, is that we have really a delta T, so a temperature difference inside the reactor of maximum 50 degrees Celsius. So which makes that we can really create a stable end product, and that in big quantities. No tire manufacturer speaks with you if you have a fluctuation in quality and a stable quantity that you can guarantee to deliver. And we arrived now at a point where we can guarantee a stable quality and a stable output every day. And now we are getting more requests than we expected. And the fact that BASF has invested, I don't know if I'm allowed to give names, but it was not Michelin, but many of Michelin's competitors that called us the last days asking if we can deliver carbon black.
Okay, that's that's very interesting, because one of the questions I have in my mind is how other tyre manufacturers are going to react to the Blackcycle project. And it's interesting that you're saying that these people are coming to you now.
Yeah. You know what there is slowly, or there had to be a change of mind. In fact, if you have virgin carbon black, that's the official name for the one that, for example, Orion is producing, which is who's part of the Blackcycle consortium. The carbon black they make from oil, the virgin carbon black, is of course different than the recovered carbon black that we make from used tires. And that's why they always said, oh, it's not good, bad quality, not the same, we don't want it. Why should we take the quality B if we can get quality A? So why? But in fact, what we were able to show with our partners is that, in fact, the end product that you create, the tire itself, doesn't change that much. You know, if you take the virgin or the recovered, the result in the tire is almost the same.
So where does Pyrum go from here? What are the next steps in your development?
Next step is, as I said, increase our capacity here in our site to 3 times the capacity we have now, because we get too many tires. So we have to send trucks back, because most of them arrive here without having an appointment. So we get more tires than we can treat right now. BASF wants as much oil as we can make, until 100,000 tons per year. So we are far away from what they could take. So now we are 2,000 tons. So we could deliver them 50 times more. And that's the first step, the very first step that we do in the next year, to increase our capacity here. And besides, we increase our structure, I would say, because right now we feel capable of building 1, maximum 2 plants at the same time. But now we need to grow to a company that is able to build 3, 4, even 5 companies in parallel. And that's increase of manpower and increase of knowledge, the transfer of knowledge that we slowly start now. And we started already last week, after the investment has arrived, by simply increasing our office capacity, because people are sitting in the floor. So not on the floor, but in the Yeah, not in offices. Too many people in one office. That's also not good in Corona time. So we need to increase simply our office capacity as a very, very first step.
Okay, so something I should have asked earlier, the feedstock that you're using for the process, are you using whole tires, shred, crumb?
Whole tires.
Whole tires.
Yeah. So we get car tires, truck tires. We have a limit in diameter 1.20 meters. We cannot take bigger than that.
Okay, and is the process, you say you have a continuous, a stable temperature range
Yeah.
in the chamber. So does that mean you have a continuous process?
Yeah, of course. In fact, to be able to have a stable temperature, you need very small spaces where the material goes through. And that's why we shred the tires first, of course. We get the tires here, we shred them in our own shredding plant, and we go down to 10 8 millimeters. In fact, now we are running at 8, 10 is also possible. We extract the steel and the fibers, and then the granulates, which are still not clean. There's still a little bit of steel and fibers remaining inside, and that material goes then into the reactor.
Okay, and if when you expand and you have 50 plants running, would you still be shredding your own feedstock, or would you be buying in pre-shredded feedstock?
In fact, here in Germany, it's quite easy to explain because we are very well paid here in Germany to take whole tires. And that pays the whole shredding process. It depends on who we get tires from. If it's private people, smaller workshops, or big recycling plants, big collectors. Here in Germany, have Remondis, you maybe know, which is the biggest container and waste handling company here in Germany. They have, of course, a better price than a private person that brings us 4 tires. But if you take all the tires we received in the last year, in average, we get 106 euros per ton as an average price. And the shredding costs us less than 100 euro. So we make a little bit of money with the shredding process, and we have the feedstock for our reactor for free. And on the other hand, if we get shredded material delivered, you have the transport costs. You never get it for free. You always have to pay a little amount for it. So for us, it's really the whole tire that makes the biggest sense.
Right. Okay. Now you're looking to sell or license the process throughout Europe. Martin is
well, basically, Pyrum is looking to license / sell plants around the world, not just Europe. But I think for the moment, as Pascal will probably confirm, the priority and the concentration is on Europe, simply because of logistics.
Yeah, and it would be quite dangerous to go outside Europe in such a young stage of the company.
But the potential is there because we have over 300 interested clients around the world that are looking to buy plants. But as Pascal said, for the time being, let's concentrate on Europe because we have a sufficient market in Europe for the time being.
I've been listening to pyrolysis people talking about the project for many years now, and suddenly in 2020 the pyrolysis sector is taking off, not just in tire recycling, in other areas as well. What has been the key that has driven the latest development in pyrolysis and its acceptance in the market?
The point was, first, the technology is very hard to develop. In fact, it took us 10 years, and we stayed very calm in our corner to find out solutions for the problems we had with the technology, because it's really a tough job to get something like that running on a 24/7 stable basis. That's what I underestimated completely at the beginning. And it only works if you do things that really haven't been done before. It does really look over the edge of everything. We have so many parts in our machine that are especially designed for us, because you couldn't find anything on the market. And then once the machine was running the first time on a continuous basis in 2017, 2018, the biggest problem was to find off-takers for the end products. And the oil is, okay, what is the oil? It's not real crude oil, it's not diesel. What is it? It is something in between that has no real, I wouldn't say wide of existence, but it hasn't existed before. And in Germany, there's a spelling, what a farmer doesn't know, he doesn't eat it. So he doesn't eat it. So people didn't know it, so they didn't want it. And it is really the case that the increasing CO2 certificate costs for the chemical industry and the bigger industries will cost them millions or hundreds of millions in the next years. And by purchasing end products that are coming from waste, they reduce their CO2 footprint. And that's why they were forced a little bit to try new things.
Yeah, everybody in pyrolysis has always quoted that Michelin is working with our product. And of course, Michelin's test people will always play with anything you give them.
Yeah.
But this Blackcycle project is a complete game changer in that it has brought Michelin into the open with its recycling. Because in the past, if you spoke to people from Michelin and asked if they used recycled materials, they would say, oh, no, we don't use recycled materials. We only use the best available. Yeah. But this has now changed.
Yeah.
But and that has to be a good thing, yeah?
Yeah, and it's, in fact, you see at BASF, the name is almost the same. At Michelin, it's Blackcycle. BASF has ChemCycle. In fact, they all start with things like that now to really create new products out of old ones. And that's why everybody's really jumping on us right now. And the last press releases, yeah, my phone is not stopping recently.
I can imagine.
And what everybody is so impressed always when they call me is that they ask if they can stop by in 2 days and visit the plant running. And if I say to them, yeah, okay, no problem, come stop by, I show you around, I get always the same messages from everybody. It's the first time I see a pyrolysis plant running. Always I go there, it's on maintenance, on stop, and something is broken. And that's something that gives us the biggest credibility, I would say, that people see and believe. Seeing is believing, as you may know. So, and the fact that they came here and see everything running, that changed the mind of many people, even those of BASF.
I can imagine, because I have experienced the same visit that you have. The plant is down for maintenance is a very common phrase.
Yeah, that's more than common.
Yeah, I can imagine actually seeing a plant working would make a big difference.
Yeah, and it doesn't smell. It is not burning. It is not that's what people impress them so much. Is they always think that it's loud. Okay, it's loud. The shredder is loud, but they always think that it smells bad. That it's dirty. But no, it is not. If you keep your plant clean and if you make your maintenance when it is required, if you make it correctly, then you don't see the plant running. In fact, we are installed here in the middle of a commercial area. So it's not an industrial area, it's commercial. So we have shops here in the same street. We even have 2 houses in the same street and some living apartments. So it's a real mixed commercial zone. It's not a pure industrial zone, our street here. And we got the permission to operate, and nobody threw us out since now, because nobody is seeing if the plant is running or not, because you don't see if it's running or not. You just hear the shredder. But
Yeah.
To have a better neighborhood, we invested now something about 80,000 euros in sound improvement. So we put a box around the loudest shredder. That will be installed next week. And then hopefully our neighbors will prefer us a little bit, will like us a little bit better.
It's interesting to see the reality of a modern European pyrolysis plant compared to the perceptions of the public as to what they're going to get. Locally, we had a proposal for a pyrolysis plant, and immediately the local citizens gathered together to protest about the emissions and the dioxins, of course, which are not there.
Yeah, in fact, that's also the advantages you have if you have a running plant. You can let them come. We had 1 year ago, it was 1.5 years ago, we had some mayors from France coming here because a customer was interested in building a plant in Brive-la-Gaillarde, which is the middle of France, and immediately, as you just said it, population were against it, and the mayors, there were 12 mayors from the surrounding villages that were against it. So I told them, everybody hop on a bus. It was before Corona. Come to Dillingen and I show you around. And after that, the protest was over immediately. They even were for the project because it creates jobs and it gives the region a green image.
Now, one for Martin. When you come to the market, who are you looking at as partners in developing the business?
Well, many different partners. It's not really a question for me. We're looking for, particularly in Luxembourg, we have a few recycling companies in mind. In the UK, my approach particularly is to come top level down. So I've spoken to, for example, the Welsh Development Agency. They're keen to get a plant in Wales. So then the next step would be, and we've already spoken to a few potentially interested parties, is to speak to recycling companies, waste management companies. They'd be the sort of partners that would get involved with the business. Obviously, we don't intend to set up plants as far as my position is concerned. Pascal might have a different opinion, but the idea is to resell plants to operators in different countries. Obviously, the idea is we might, or Pyrum might, be financially involved in some plants in some places, but the main thrust or the main idea is to speak to potential partners who would invest and set up plants in their own countries. They'd invest in the plants, they'd run the plants, and they'd obviously take off the profits. We'd provide them with the contracts for buyers for their end products, which makes it a much easier business case to explain to potential purchasers of the plant. And that's the model, basically.
That changed a little bit recently, if I'm correct a little bit.
I thought it might have.
No. In the deal with BASF, they push us a little bit to be part of every plant, because being a shareholder in every plant gives you a little bit of influence in the plant. And of course, it's better for our image if the plant is really running. I'm always a little bit afraid. I sell a plant to somebody, he's not able to run it because he doesn't have the technological background. And then maybe the plant is even going bankrupt, and who is getting the bad image? It's Pyrum. Pyrum sold the plant to Mr. X and he lost all his money. So our approach now with BASF is Pyrum gives money. So we invest cash in the plant, 15 to 20% maximum, and we become co-shareholders. So we are also shareholder in the plant, and we take care of the technology and that the plant wants, and the operator takes care that tires are coming in and that the logistics and all that is around the plant is running, which is more locally. I don't want to go somewhere and search for tires and search for trucks and search for who is transporting what where. So that's not our goal, but our goal is to be in almost every plant as a minor shareholder and take care about the technique that it wants.
There you have it. Ewan Scott's interview with Pascal Klein and Martin Herneman from Pyrum Innovations. Ewan, there's some, interesting things that came out of that discussion. For viewers and listeners just hearing about Pyrum for the first time, what do you think is the key talking point from your interview?
I think the interesting point here, and the pertinent point, is that Pyrum have developed a process which provides a stable output. They, as Pascal Klein says, they don't necessarily make the best carbon black, but what they do, or the best oil, but what they do is they provide a consistency. Everything that comes from Pyrum is the same standard. That is critical when you're supplying large corporations like Michelin or BASF or Bridgestone or anybody in the industry that needs high volumes of recovered carbon black or oil. It's difficult to comprehend the volumes of recovered carbon black or carbon black that the rubber industry goes through. It's absolutely phenomenal, and unless you see it, you don't believe it. So for Pyrum to take tires and recycle them and produce a stable product is critical to the success of the business.
Yeah, for sure. And, the point you make as well about a consistency of process, I suppose that is that's a staple of all manufacturing and processing businesses. You need to make sure that process is consistent to make sure your end product is the same every time. No one likes a product that differentiates in quality every time it goes through a manufacturing or a process a process. But with their investment with BASF and the Michelin projects, I'm going to keep a close eye to see how that develops. But moving forward to next week, who will we be talking to?
Next week we will be speaking with Gary Moore, who is the UK sales director for Unter Limited. Unter have returned to the tyre shredding market with a brand new piece of equipment after an absence of almost 10 years. So it will be interesting to hear what Unter have got to offer the market and why their return to the market offers us something different.
Excellent. Well, I'll be looking forward to that conversation with Gary. That's all for today's episode. Thank you for watching, and we'll be back very shortly with another episode of the Tyre Recycling Podcast.